Where did we put the indemnity check?
It's probably okay though. It's probably easier to see up there, right? Yeah.
Because there
On
is
the-
So we'll leave it.
income.
Okay, maybe that's,
You plan on standing up there, she's most
No.
maybe just sitting there.
No, I'm right here.
see, I have these two, which was a thousand, for just for non-farm.
Non-farm income?
Yeah, plus there was,
You see your computer.
Okay, so
Second.
let's do
Check the display
non-farm.
settings.
It's okay, I think.
So is your keeping personal business income producing?
it's for dad. He paid me. I helped
You can minimize all this, right?
So bookkeeping.
And then, yeah. And then my dad paid, my uncle died, and we had an auction, and my dad paid, that was.
Yeah, let's boost that just a little bit.
Um,
Well, I'm trying to get it to the 1920 by 1080. I'm just trying to understand why it won't do that. That's weird.
and then
Or is this a really old machine?
Yeah, it's old.
that's what we learned.
It is what it is.
Different years.
So back.
I'm surprised it even has a HDMI. It's a
So you guys have,
audio now. It's interesting.
We get, this was the lost check amount we got received, 2018.
Okay.
and you
I'm
got
not
that
gonna
in
get the
19.
computer to come up, but
So I don't know where this crop insurance income is from.
Just like every other computer guy, you screw with my thing, then you don't bring it back where it was before. Nothing is more frustrating than that.
Isn't the fin pack down there at the bottom already? The little dollar sign thing, right?
This one.
Did you need Outlook open too?
I'll get it. I'm just saying. You don't leave it like you find it. You leave it like you left it. Boy, howdy, that just, you can rile me in a minute.
Yeah, the government payment commercial facilitation.
So let's
I'd have to ask.
let's assemble.
Avengers.
That's fine. And if we have to write all of it so that it breaks out, I don't mind doing that. Okay,
Yeah, I'm just working on them back there.
Go ahead and talk for just a second, Phil.
I'll tell you a story about Jack and Ori. Now my story's begun. I'll tell you another about Jack and his brother. Now my story is
how
done.
many times have you said that story?
1,000,000 times. Just ask my children. Tell me a story.
That's better than just saying testament.
That's right. My mother used to say the same thing. Used to tell me the exact same story. That's where I got it. That story? No, because it was not long enough to do anything for me. And she wasn't going to go sit and tell me a story anyway. Just go to sleep, kid. It's kind of the way I wanted to get with kids. I don't need to tell you a story. Ugh,
I love how he's disgusting.
kids. Ugh. Okay,
Okay, we're ready. to
Steve,
go.
if you can, I'm sorry, but I'm working on trying to. All right. In order to do a cash flow, we have to build budgets for our enterprises. Does that make sense? Because it's going to then estimate how much money we're going to need for next year by the amount that by the budget that we're building. It's gonna, so you can tell it to increase acres, and it will automatically increase the costs that go into that, to building that particular enterprise. If we just put in flat money, then if you wanted to ask what would happen if I increase the acres, you'd have to go in and refigure that and recalculate it, and then it's just a long process. So what it wants us to do is build enterprise budgets. And actually, those are really good for you anyway. Now, so let me just kind of show you these, then I'll show you where you can go find some enterprise budgets if you don't have a clue how much you're paying or how much it goes into an enterprise budget, then we can give you an idea of that. So let's just go into FinPack first and show you. So now we're gonna go down into projections. So we did doing the financial. So we came down, we had the data resources where we did balance sheets first, right? Then we did the financial analysis, and that's where we have the FinAn right down here. And now we're gonna go down to the next level, down to projections. And we're going to open crop and livestock budgets. And that's what I have here, crop and livestock budgets. And in the sample farm, which is what I have open, you shouldn't have anything because it should be your farm that's open, correct? Unless you've already played with this, which is possible, but I doubt it. Okay, so you can go in and you're just gonna create blank budgets. So you would just double click there and you have to put a year or some kind of a name on these budgets. Now you can always use these budgets if you want to for your cash flow. If you change those budgets, name on it, or you can just kind of update that same budget group every year and always use that same name. But just so you know, you can build several budgets, but it's got all of your budgets inside of that one place. Okay? So I'm just going to let's just put 2020 budgets, and I have already done that. So I'm just going to cancel that, but you'd put that in now. You're not creating from a blank, or you are using a blank because you haven't got a copy, right? So don't worry about that. You're just going to go and then put in from a blank. So I put in my 2020 budgets. I just put 2020 in there, and I'm going to double click that, and here I am. And I haven't got anything in here anyway. Okay? And so here's what I'm going to say. We have a blank crop budget, then I have a blank livestock budget. So the crop budget, I'm going to go down here and let's pick something. What do we all raise hay? Some of you at some point in time or another. So I'm just going to go take an H.
Is
And-
everyone to this point?
Yeah, are we here? Can everybody hear?
No.
Get there.
We're way behind. We're at Joel.
It's not that far. You can make it.
Okay,
This is not hard.
so we're to the same place he is.
But it's a valley
And we'll look at hay. Are you doing alfalfa hay? Joel?
Yeah, I'm just gonna show them alfalfa. Yeah, I can show them. I just want to show them how to get into it, and then I'm going to go show you an alfalfa hay budget. Now it's not in FinPack. You have to go someplace else, but we can do it. We're able. We have abilities. We are incredible. Are we not? Yeah, we are. Okay, so you all here? We're all here now. I can just go to alfalfa hay, and it doesn't show me very much. Now, this has, I am in the sample coasting farms file. So it has in last year's alfalfa hay budget over here. You wouldn't have anything in there because you didn't have anything from last year, right? So, but we're going to do both a long range budget and a year one fin flow budget. Make sense? Now, why we do a long range budget versus a 1 year budget? Why would we have two separate budgets for that? Sam? I really want you to comprehend this.
I don't know.
Why would we have, there's a difference between a long-range budget and a yearly budget just for this year alone. Why would they be different?
Because of the cost of hay seed, so you pay that first. You gotta pay a lot for seed this year, but it's not paying for seed the next 4 years.
Oh, well,
Think of raising what you raised. with your hay crop.
my point,
Samantha,
so let's look at it from a banker's point of view. if he's going to give you, if he's going to look at your long range plan, is your budget different for a long range plan than it is for this year's plan? What are the differences between those? What makes those two different? Right, the prices are totally different, are they not? Wouldn't you, what would you use, what kind of a price would you use for long range versus this year? But this year, cattle, what do you think it's gonna, the price of cattle is gonna be this year? Oh, I disagree, I think it's gonna be decent. Yeah, okay, so that's not bad for calves. What's the long range price going to be? Is it still $1.50? Or is it, are you gonna say it's higher? So long range means, what's the average price of the last, let me ask that question. What's the average price in the last 10 years? Lower. That's right. So but that's what it's asking you. So this year's budget, the thin flow budget year, is what are the prices? How, we can judge the prices maybe this year better than maybe what it's been, or what the long range price is. Usually, when we put in numbers, we're a little bit more conservative when it comes to numbers on a long range than we are for this year, because we almost know this year. Right? We should almost know this year's numbers. We should be, the best guess is for this year's numbers. Long range, we're probably going to put a number in that, and if it's high, it could be higher. This could be a really bad year. And so the long range price could be higher. But it sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. But make sure that it's a long range price, that it's a price you can get all the time. Does that make sense? It's a price you can always get, because then if you can make it on that, then if it's a good year, make it, right? Okay, so a bank likes to see a long range budget, and we like to see what this year's budget's going to be. At least they want to see if you can understand the difference. So again, build it for this year. That would be the easiest thing right now. So in the ton, you're just going to go ahead and put a price per ton in of what you think that, and if you get out yield, how many tons you're going to yield on alfalfa hay. Now, this isn't establishment alfalfa. This is alfalfa hay that's already established. Because so let me go back just slightly.
Yeah, you could do a county average for alfalfa yield.
So here's our budget. Here's our budget description. If you now theoretically you could put a budget for every field if you wanted to be extremely detailed, right? Does that make sense why you'd want to do that? Possibly. So you could have every field, but that makes your budgets a lot of budgets, but it's just a budget and you can pick which one you use. So it's not a bad thing. And so again, you're going to put a budget description here. Is it the establishment year? Is it a double crop, or is it is it irrigated? Okay, so you would click those. Now, what would be a double crop? Explain to me what double crop would be. Yeah, right. And so,
But it wouldn't be double if it's established, right?
Only if you got something off of it the first year. Now, if you just planted it in the fall, right? Is that what you're talking about? If I establish hay in the fall after grain, is that right? Are you with me?
Yeah.
Then you would have, you can double crop that, but you're probably not going to get anything off of it. Maybe you get grazing off of it. Sam, that's something you would use. Aftermath grazing is a double crop, because you've got a crop off of that ground, and now I'm going to graze it. Now, but the pasture, the aftermath grazing, is the double crop, not the alfalfa. It's only a single crop, but the aftermath grazing is a double crop. Does that kind of make sense? So most alfalfa would not be a double crop. Sometimes corn can be a crop, right? Because you could pull off haylage with triticale or something like that, and then come back and plant corn, and then get another whole crop of corn. So one of those is going to be a double crop. It's going to double crop that piece of property. Okay, so obviously most of the time for alfalfa it is not, but you can put exactly the name of it of what you want to call that here. So just established alfalfa. Okay, then again you're going to go ahead and put in a yield and a price, estimated yield and estimated price. Now this year you have no way of knowing what your yield is going to be, but you know what your basic yield is. You can put your basic yield in there.
Is that
This is on a per acre basis.
per acre?
It's all per acre.
Okay.
That means I can increase acres and still pull from this budget.
Okay, so yield
So then
roughly
you
like
want
that
to
for 8
open
ton.
price.
If that's your average yield on an irrigated alfalfa, now that's pretty high for
Yes.
me. That's way above the county average, but that's not necessarily bad. I mean, that's really good if you can do it. If you can show me that that's what you've gotten the last few years, or you're confident that's what you've gotten, that's what you've received. I'm sorry, gotten is a bad word, but anyway, that's what you've received, then you would put that as your yield. And then the next one, you're going to close that, and the next one is you're going to put a price down, right? So yield, you're going to put yield, or you already could do that in that same one, right? Let me go back to the yield. Yield and price were already on the same place, were they not?
Yep.
So you could put price and yield right there. You didn't have to go to the next one.
When you were
So we
talking
only
about,
ask that you
if
do
you want
them
to
all
separate it
in
out by
one
farm, is that where you just click to the next column over the right there? So,
Yeah, I'm thinking, wow. Yeah, interesting.
throw a curveball.
Yeah, because I don't know how you would ever how the computer is going to differentiate between one or the other. So why does it give you this other spot? I ask.
I don't ask that too.
I know. I don't know if I know the answer. Any clues, Miss Ashley?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Yeah, I know. Why does it give us all of these? Does it give us 3 opportunities to put that in here? Why? I ask.
When you open those, it is also looking at if you were to have double crops already, even if you didn't check the box.
I guess I
It's
wouldn't.
a triple crop. Is that why there's 3 of them?
Yeah,
You could have a triple crop.
if you have, so I don't know, I'm not a cover crop expert.
But I did that last year. I was able to chop a triticale off in the spring,
Right.
planted corn,
Right?
Mhm.
and then after corn, and it was really late summer, we actually were able to chop triticale after corn.
You
Yeah.
planted back to triticale and got another chop.
Yeah.
But that would triticale would be
No, it actually wasn't corn. It was
but you would put that as another, that would be, the triticale would be its own enterprise. It wouldn't be on the same enterprise as alfalfa. That's my point. So I guess I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't use
If there
that.
was a seed mix that he was using though, you could put all 3.
Yeah, but you can't, yield is not, you're not going to get 3 different crops off of it. 3 different yields, 3 different products.
I don't know why. it does
I wouldn't
that.
use that. Let's just not try that.
Let's just say for hay, what we do a lot is our first cutting, we bale and then we chop after that. Still averages out
8 ton.
8 ton dry, but when green chop, it's a wet ton.
Right,
So,
right. Oh, well then that makes sense to me.
okay.
Now, I don't know, again, I'm trying to figure out how the computer knows what you're going to pull off of that, how that's going to happen. I don't know how it does that. So maybe we will try that on yours. The rest of you, please don't make this any harder than it has to be. Now, the one thing you do need to realize, is it going to be used for feed? Now, that means feed for you. If you're not going to use it for feed, and it's always sold then don't put use for feed. If it's always sold.
So
Now, if you may use it for feed, possibly, then put use for feed and then it'll sell what you don't use from your other enterprises.
So
Because you're going to put in an enterprise for cows that you're going to feed so much hay. It'll take hay from your inventory as you produce it.
your price.
And then it's going to say, you're out of hay and now I'm going to go buy hay for you.
So that would actually be
If you did,
kind of what I was
but
getting at,
if you
that
sell it all,
first cutting,
maybe not.
bale for ourselves, our cows, and then green top, so. Just going for that, or wait.
I don't know. That's what I'll see if we can use those two columns. Wow, that's amazing. Nothing like questions we can't answer. I love it. So now, Sam, you guys produce alfalfa hay? Yes. Yeah. But then does it almost all go to feed? Okay, so you would just saying you would be sure and check used for feed. And then it's going to feed it as you produce it. But you've got to produce it within the enterprise first. Make sense? So if not, it's going to go out and buy hay for you. That's all I'm going to say. It'll go out and buy its own hay. So now, and then you go down. So then you have a product. Then that'll give you amount of income. So tons times price will give you an income, and you have a gross income. And then we aren't establishing it, so there's no seed, right?
So 1.5.
But you could have fertilizer, chemicals, all of those other things you could have. Are you okay with that? Now, do you have any idea what those prices are? Do you have any idea what those might be? If you don't have any idea, the university, in all of its wisdom, has budgets for all of the crops that we raise in this part of the world. Now, to say they have a great dryland crop budget, they probably do not. But that's something we ought to build,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So that's something to consider, Miss.
I mean, we have dry land for all the northern Idaho farms that we could try to compare.
And
to.
all we need to do is just work this budget, find the budget and work at it.
But we need to know yield variation.
Right. Right. So the university, if you go on the Ag Biz website, Idaho Ag Biz, I can do that. Don't I have internet here? Possibly. Let me go see if we do have it. Da-da-da-da, looking. Con Palos. Isn't there an open one?
Yeah, that one.
And connect. Just so you be sure that you do know how to do this, because you really kind of want to find this. And it says I'm open, I'm on, da-da-da-da. And then I can go down to the web. And of course, I'm already in it because I kind of looked at this earlier. So I'll get out of it and come back in.
Is it multiple budgets on it too?
Hey, that's right. You already cheated and found it.
Well, I was on this last couple of years.
Good.
Learning how to do it.
Oh.
It makes sense to me. Like I have-
Did you hear that? He actually
He
uses.
already printed off his custom rates guide.
That's right.
We have the-
Oh, that's it. Okay. All right. So I'm going to just put up in here Idaho Ag Biz. Now I have already put that in there. I mean, I've entered it before, so it's going to happen. You could put that down in the Google search down here. Let's put it down here. I know it wants to put it right back up there. I know it does. And that's where it's going to want me to put it. So I'll just put it here. So Idaho, down here. Okay. Type it in there, and it's going to bring up Google search. And there's the very top, Idaho Ag Biz, University of Idaho, crop budgets. Click on that. And then it has these crop budgets. And we are in South Central Idaho. Agreed? Hopefully you all agree that that's true. You don't live here. Not my fault. Okay, now, if you want to read the budgets, all the assumptions that went into each budget, you can do that. And that's all of these PDF versions. You can look at all of the budgets. Let's just go to this hay budget, and you can take a look, and it'll tell you the university cost and returns estimates are based on economic costs, not accounting costs. All resources are valued at a market rate, and blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on. Talks about the model farm that we use, 2,200 acres with 400 acres in alfalfa, 550 acres in potatoes, 550 acres in sugar beets, and 700 acres in a combination of grain, corn, and dry beans. Just so they can get all of these budgets in, right? That's why they did this. And then it has all the machinery. It's going to show you the machinery. It's going to show you labor that they're going to use. Now, this budget was printed in 2017. So you can go read all that. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. I mean, there's a whole lot of information there, and who cares? So let's get out of that. But I want you to go back to, so if you want to read that, that's perfectly fine. But if you want to just look at the budget, so here we go to South Central again. The budgets are in Excel also. All of those budgets. Now, when you download that, it comes out in Excel like this. Here's all of the budgets. Let's go to that on the budgets. So we have a blank budget. We had soft white wheat winter, soft white wheat spring, hard red spring wheat, malt barley, feed barley, alfalfa establishment with oats. Do you see that where it's saying all that? Alfalfa establishment without oats, sugar beets, dry beans, and if we go over here, field corn, corn silage, potato 2 and potato 3. I don't see dryland alfalfa. Okay, so we would have to build, you could adjust. So I'll show you. So let's go back to alfalfa. That's what we're looking at. All the others are there. So here's the alfalfa budget. Here's what your quantity per acre that you get, 7 ton. And there's the cost that it's going to be for this year. Now that was in 2017. They estimated what the cost would be. What's the price going to be this year?
What does that say?
130. You can't read that? What? You blind or am I just?
No, I'm blind.
Okay. Good. Is he that blind? They have glasses.
Yes.
He doesn't want to wear his glasses. Thank you. Okay, so would you just interpret for him, Sarah? Thank you. Oh boy. Okay.
I think it's about 130 still again.
So, when you're asking on that, that's Peter hay, dairy hay.
You can decide.
Yeah.
Yeah, you decide what it is. What's it gonna be? You know, if it's feeder hay that you are trying to build, that you're trying to make, then you put that price in. If it's high quality dairy hay, then you put that price in. You decide. But you can go in and change these numbers. Now, you're going to have to go in and put them in on your computer so that it will allow you to make changes to these budgets. Does that make sense? They've got to become yours. Now, if I were doing that, and I didn't want to ruin the budget that was already there, you know, you can just go in like right here. You click on that arrow up there in the corner, and then come over here and do a right click, and then I'm just going to copy the whole budget, and then I'm going to do a little plus down here, and I'm just going to put now I'm going to put it in this sheet, and I'm just going to do a paste, and now I have that whole budget. But now this is Joel's budget, Joel's alfalfa.
Can you right click on that tab?
Yeah, I just double click Joel's alfalfa.
I mean, you duplicate tab and you don't have to have that copy like that. That's okay.
Right. I don't want it because I just do the whole budget at once. Just do the whole page at once. The sheet. I did the worksheet. So now I can go in and make changes. I still have the original budget back here, but I can go in and make any adjustments that I want on my budget. For you guys, it'd be pretty drastic because you're not going to get 8 ton or 7 ton to the acre even on your wildest dreams. But for you, you're going to increase this to 8 ton. You just told me that, right? And then you're going to put in whatever the cost. Now I'm asking you, what's the cost of this year?
150, 160.
What kind? Okay, let's establish first. What kind of hay are we making? What kind of hay are you making? You get to decide this, right? For whatever you're making, whatever kind of hay you're making, you're deciding what kind you're going to make. So, Sam, what kind of you guys just want? Is it an alfalfa grass mix? Probably.
We have straight alfalfa, but we're also dry.
Okay, good. So that's perfectly fine. That's not a problem. But just understand that the numbers are going to be different. And you can go in and put the numbers in. It's going to give you the total value. We have 400 acres up here. You can go ahead and put the acreage that you want up there. It'll give you the total value. That's where this 364,000 is coming from. If I get 7 ton at $130 a ton under 400 acres, that's going to bring me $364,000. Now, if I only have 200, if I'm only going to use 200 acres, or you can just put one, but that's what this number is over here. Does that make sense? The per acre cost or value is over on this column. So you have the total value for all the acres and the all the values. So you could just put one in here on total acres, and then it would just give you this number right over here both times. So, you know, whatever you want to do. Anyway. Okay, so the point is you got it at your fingertips. Now, fertilizer, do you put any fertilizer on that piece of ground? That's what you're going to put. Now, this is the per acre cost, and over here, it's a per acre cost. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm not sure I'm smart enough, probably not smart enough, to do a...
Your dryland, just change your irrigation, change those costs.
Yeah, just change the costs, right? It doesn't have, you don't, it doesn't have to be too, okay, I don't want to do that. I'm just going to freeze the pane so I can see this line all the way up. And so I'm just going to go there. Freeze panes. Okay. See how that leaves it all up there so I can go up and I can still see what I'm looking at. All right, yeah, so you're right. So I can go in and I can put in how much per acre I'm going to get and how much per ton, and then I can go down here and put fertilizer prices in. Now this is a cost per pound, or this is the amount, the poundage that you're putting on per acre, and here's the cost per pound of that, and then here's what it costs for per acre over here, and this is a total cost for that field. This is for pesticide, whether it's Warrior is a insecticide, Metribuzin is weed control, right? If you don't use those, then don't put that down. You can just take it out. And I would suggest, rather than going like this and saying delete, I probably wouldn't do that. I would probably just take these 3 lines. I just take it over. Well, I get what I'm doing here. Go over there and then just go to clear the contents. That way you're not destroying the whole budget, right? You want to clear the content rather than delete lines. Let's just clear out that line. All right. And so whether you use Warrior, if you'd never use an insecticide, again, take it out. Here's the custom work. Now, why does it give us the custom rates? Here's a good question. Brooke, for you especially, because we just had this discussion about the way you and your uncle work together. Why do we want to see what these custom rates are? You probably should. Now, you may not be paying, you aren't probably paying the rate where do those custom rates come out of?
Operating expenses. What do you mean?
What are the rates? How do I go find these custom rates? On the custom rates guide that's on the website. But you don't have to go look because it's right there. Okay? To fertilize with herbicide, that's going to cost $1 an acre. No, that's going to be for 1 acre, cost $8.75 an acre. To custom swath, it's going to cost about, and that's 4 acres. Yeah, is that an hour? What is that talking about? It can't be an hour. Wouldn't you wish? Anyways, that's $18 an acre. Because you're going to cut 4 different times. That's the reason. Okay, so custom rake, you're going to be $23 a ton. You're going to stack for $6.25, And this is all on a per ton basis, and you got 7 ton to the acre, right? That's why the quantity is over here is 7. And custom air spray, if you're going to be doing some herbicide, that's going to be $8 an acre. So what's actually the herbicide actually costing you? $16.75 an acre. Now, whether you want to use these or not, if you don't want to show them in your budget that you're not spending that money, you can just take them out. But those costs are real and they do exist. Whether you charge yourself that or not, they exist. Okay, I'm just trying to get you to understand there's a cost every time you take that swather out in that field. And it costs you, according to this, that costs you $18 an acre. Do you believe that, else? Do you need to pay 18 bucks an acre to take that out there? Well, you cover a lot of acres, right? But there's a cost to it. You got to buy the machine, you got to repair it, you got to put fuel in it. There's a cost of that. They say that that's 18 bucks an acre. Okay, so I just want you to understand, if you're not going to charge yourself any of that, just take that out. And again, I wouldn't destroy it. I would probably just take out the quantities and just put them all at 0, or just take them out. Just take them. And again, same thing I did before. I would just say, clear those contents, and I'm not going to count that as a cost. Because I own all my equipment. I'm not hiring any of it done. I can just do it myself. And now we get down here to power. What's your power cost? So 36 inch, that's how much I'm going to put on per acre. And that cost me $1.94 or $69 an acre when it all gets said and done. Yowza, right? Water assessment, 1 acre cost me $47.50. Okay, irrigation repairs. Oh, that doesn't cost any money. You never have to repair irrigation equipment, right? Gosh. So you put that in there. $19 an acre, it says. Now we have fuel. How much fuel do you spend? Again, you can play with this and not say it doesn't exist, but really it does. But you're not. I don't think you're going to put that into your budget in Excel. You're gonna put that as an overall expense to the whole farm as fuel. And so understand that there's a cost there. Again, you're probably not going to use it. So this should help you be able to fill out, my point is, this should help you fill out your budget back on the other page. Okay, so that's the only reason I'm showing you that. It took way too long to just tell you that. You just said, boy, that was really simple. So here's that. Here's what you're looking for. Crop chemicals, crop insurance, energy, water assessment, packaging and supplies, baling costs, I guess. If you have custom hire or if you have any hired labor just for that enterprise, then put that in. Now, it's asking you when you get down here, it's going to ask how many labor hours does it take you per acre to do it? And it's going to calculate hours for you in your total farm when you get to the end. That makes sense? It wants to keep track of your hours because it wants to say, yeah, I've got 5,000 hours per year. Well, you can't work that many hours. So something you're doing wrong because that's not possible. Okay? So it's going to track it. So just put it in. All right. So that's kind of how you would start putting that in. So let me go back to the Coasting Farms, and I'm going to close my budgets. Close them, save it, fine. And I'm going to go back and show you how theirs look. So they have beans. They have beans as part of their budget. They just use the long range budget, and they didn't. Oh wow, that's not a very good budget.
Go down to pink.
Wow, that's a bad budget. I hope the rest of them are.
Oh no, they don't have expenses.
Wow, how did I do that? Let's close that budget. I thought I found the good budgets in there today when I was looking.